My grandmother passed away at age 61. It was a heartbreaking time, but my mentors always told me, they said, you can either choose to be part of the problem or you can be part of the solution. And that's when I set my foot forward in really trying to learn about natural medicine, and just the medical arts in and of itself. And all these things along the way come into your path as you create your vision, right? Those of you guys who you're partaking in the better mind, better body system, you guys are learning about the mind. That when you set your vision, that all these things are going to come into alignment so that you guys can be able to accomplish your vision, whether that's a health transformation or a financial transformation, whatever that it is that you want. All of these things are going to come into your vision. Okay. And what's going to happen is a lot of times you're either going to be in a place where you're going to be like, how is that possible? Or you want to say no to that. And that's kind of like where Yoli fell in for myself, for Daniel. We were in a position where we weren't looking for Yoli. And a lot of times, maybe some of you guys that maybe happened to you, or you guys may be talking to other people, and that's what will come across. But if it wasn't for Eugene's persistence, Eugene's friendship, all of those things, we wouldn't be here today, and a lot of you guys probably wouldn't be here as well. And so, fast forward, I jumped in, and a lot of you guys may not even know my story. I jumped into Yoli at a time where my health was not at its greatest place. I had a very hard time with my digestion and all that kind of stuff. I lost a lot of weight. I mean, I was down to probably about 127 pounds. I'm normally about 155, 160. And it really was the better body system that helped me get a better body. See, a lot of people have their transformation story of losing the weight. My transformation was actually gaining the weight back and being able to hold down food. And really, it was the better body system that allowed me to get nutrition back into my body. And from that point on, I shared that with my patients, and here we are, 7 years down the line, and we just wrapped up Yoli Ignite 2019. And for those of you who, you guys know a lot of what we do, we just recently formed the doctors panel. And what we did with the doctors panel is we put our heads together on really looking at what do you guys need as far as product wise, and how can we deliver that. So a lot of times what will happen is we'll look at the products and then we'll see something that we can improve upon, and we'll do those things. And here's the best part, guys, is when we speak to them and we converse with them, they take what we're saying and they make those improvements. So a lot of the things that you guys are seeing is the culmination of many, many people's heads being put together and pushing that forth. And I was so excited to see a lot of these products, specifically pH2O. Okay, so pH2O was one of the specific products that I really wanted to see, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So, for those of you who can have access to your screen, you guys will be able to see the screen here. Okay. Um, little bit of a background on this. Just the disclaimer. We got to put up the disclaimer just because, yeah, you guys can read through that. Blah blah blah. pH2O. Why was I so excited about this? Well, one, because it fits the vision and it fits the personality of what Yoli is about. Right? I mean, you look all over. You guys can see that there's tons and tons of these weight loss companies out there, right? And if you guys go back to the original Yoli BBP video, even the latest BBP video where you see me talking, and I really specifically say that weight loss is the side effect of getting healthy, and that's what we're geared towards, is gaining health. Now the missing piece, and this is the one big thing that I always do with every single patient, the missing piece is balancing out your pH levels, because your pH levels really control your body's entire biochemistry. If any of you guys went through college chemistry or high school chemistry, you guys know about pH, where you can put in acids and you guys can put in bases, and it'll affect chemical reactions. Well, it's the same thing that happens in your body. Okay, so when we look at what we have as far as like alkali, we have fun, we have all of these things. we are affecting the body's biochemistry at its most fundamental level. Because whenever you think about nutrition and all that kind of stuff, the first thing that pops into people's heads is multivitamins, multiminerals, right? And people turn towards that and they think, well, just because I have a high quality multivitamin, multimineral, I'm doing really good things for my health. And that's only partly true because the biggest factor is even if you're taking it, it still has to get to the cells in your body for it to be effective, right? It's like if somebody has $1 million and they're trying to mail that to you in the mail, it's really only effective if it actually gets into your house and you can open the envelope and take out the $1 million. If it's just $1 million and it's stuck at the postal department, then it's useless, right? And that's what a lot of people are doing with taking these really high quality multivitamins, multiminerals, is that it's getting stuck at the post office. It's never being delivered to where it needs to. Now, why do I say that? Well, one of the biggest factors that helps with delivery of nutrients and delivery of toxins out of the body, because if you really want to know the secret to health, it's getting nutrients in and getting the waste out. Okay, that's the secret to optimal health. So, what helps to make that happen? Well, you got to have proper pH levels, and that's why when I first saw Yoli, I was like, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. But I'll be honest. When I first saw Alkali, I looked at it for what it said on the label, and I said, well, anybody can do that. Anybody can put some potassium, magnesium, calcium together and call it a pH supplement. But as I got to learn more about what Alkali is and how it's made, you really get a different appreciation for it. Okay. So the key takeaway I want you guys to really grasp onto about pH2O is that one, it's improving hydration. That's the most obvious thing. The next one is it's improving oxygenation through improving oxygen saturation into your tissues. Okay, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. It also increases electron delivery, and electrons is the key part of life. This also improves drinking water compliance. Now, how many people have, you know, saying, I just don't like the taste of water. Okay. I don't like the taste of water. I can't get enough water in. Well, here's the thing. Without water, life could not exist. That's the biggest takeaway. Okay. So some metabolic facts I want you guys to understand. Every single cell in your body is producing waste product. You got to look at every single cell in your body like a little car. You start up the car, it goes, but it's also producing exhaust. Okay. All of this waste product is altering the pH balance. Oh, can somebody, whoever's talking, can you guys mute that line, please? Okay. So all waste products alters the pH balance. This alteration in pH balance is going to affect how nutrients are being delivered to the cells and how waste is being taken away. Okay. Physiological pH is 7.365. If you guys have watched the pH demo, 7.365, anything above or below, that means cellular trouble. Okay. Being in a state of acidosis or even alkalosis, because alkalosis does happen, that's going to affect optimal cellular function. So it's all about, we read that story in elementary school, Goldilocks. It's all about that medium happy, that warm zone where you're not too acidic, you're not too alkaline, you're just right in that middle. 7.365, that's where we want it to lie. Now, everything in your body is making acidic waste, but there's two types of acidic waste you got to know about. One is called volatile and the other one is non-volatile. The volatile one is being expressed through our lungs. This is carbon dioxide, and you have other things like uric acid, which is the non-volatile being excreted by the kidneys and other secondary routes like your skin. You can affect pH by breathing. You can breathe in rapidly and you can affect the pH levels by getting rid of excess carbon dioxide. Now, when we talk about alkali and affecting the pH levels, we're talking about affecting the extracellular pH levels. Okay, so right outside of your little car, your car's making exhaust. What alkali is doing is helping to curb that exhaust. It's kind of like it's just eating up that exhaust so it doesn't create a lot of pollution. This is the non-volatile acidic waste. Okay, so we talk about indirect balancing and direct balancing. Now, when we look at alkali, this is a blown up picture of alkali. It's calcium carbonate crystal has these hydroxides that's binded to it. creates this crystalline structure that it's a patented process, and it creates a brand new product. Okay, it's not just a potassium magnesium hydroxide. This in and of itself is a brand new product. And when you get down to, you can talk about like quantum levels and all that kind of stuff. It creates a different reaction in your body. So all these little blue little circles are these hydroxides that basically break off. And what they do is they attach to an acidic compound, which is the H plus. Now, if you guys understand chemistry, a positive and a negative are attracted to each other and they neutralize each other. Okay? So you have electrons and you have protons. They attract to each other and they neutralize each other. So in this case, the hydroxides coming off of alkali, it looks for those H pluses and it neutralizes. And guess what it makes? It makes water. So when you are taking in stuff like pH2O, which is a hydrating product, you're putting it in water, you're increasing water delivery, but you're also curbing the acidic response in your body, the acidic waste product, and you're turning that into water. So you guys are actually making water in your body, and you're hydrating yourselves internally as well as externally. Pretty phenomenal stuff. And like I said, life is dependent upon the movement of electrons. Okay? We all understand this. We all have cell phones. And if electrons never moved in your house, you would never be able to charge your cell phones. You would never be able to charge or run your air conditioners, any electrical appliance, because that is the movement of electrons. The same thing that happens in your body. Now, there was a researcher, his name was Robert O. Becker, and he wrote a book called The Body Electric. And what he found was that, you guys ever seen lizards who, they lose their tail and then their tail starts to grow back? Well, they do this they did a study with salamanders, and they saw, salamanders, they get their limbs cut off and their limbs actually grow back. And Robert O. Becker asked the question, well, how does that happen? And what he found was that as soon as a limb was severed, the body of a salamander changed its electrical movement. It increased its voltage. And the healing process started once that increase in voltage occurred. Then he studied this in humans, and the same thing happens in humans. You break a bone, you puncture your skin, cells get damaged, the voltage changes and it increases in voltage. And the only way that it can do that is by increasing the pH levels, so making it more alkaline. And what they found was that you do an equivalency between millivolts and pH levels. So what they saw was that if you wanted to create healing, your pH levels had to be above 7.8, because that will give you a voltage of 50 to 70. So whenever I work with patients, in order for them to get a healing response, we gotta get their pH levels above that threshold of 7.8. Okay. Now remember, he said, I told you, physiological pH is at 7.365. But in this case, you have a healing crisis because you are dealing with injured tissue, which the pH is dropping. So we gotta flood the area. It's almost like you have dead grass, right? It's all dried, all brown. And what we got to do is we got to, super saturate the area. And that's what we're doing with getting the body back up to that level, okay? Now, everything revolves around this little confusing thing. This is what's called the electron transport chain. This is basically the engine, the powerhouse of your cell. This is what makes energy. So you take in food, and the food that you eat has to be broken all the way down to a protein, a fat, a carbohydrate, and essentially gets digested and assimilated all the way to the mitochondria in the cell. And the mitochondria is taking oxygen, it's taking water, and it's taking the electrons that you've been given, transports it through this little membrane, and makes ATP. So if you don't have enough oxygen, remember we talked about, and I'm going to show you guys about oxygen being dissolved in solution. You don't have enough oxygen, you don't have enough water, but you have an abundance of food being delivered in the form of fats, proteins, or carbohydrates. This system doesn't work effectively. Say you have enough food, but you don't have enough water. This system does not work properly because this little guy right here, this little guy is a little engine, and it needs proper amounts of water because it rotates. Okay? And when it rotates, it makes ATP. And if you don't have enough ATP, guess what happens? The cells do not work properly. That's what happens. Okay. So I talked about oxygen delivery depending upon pH level. And what they found, this is like chemical fact, that when the pH levels decrease, dissolved oxygen also decreases as well. So as you get more acidic, dissolved oxygen gets less. Okay, let me show you this. Just a difference between pH of 7.45 and pH of 7.3. It's a difference of 65% more dissolved oxygen in solution. Doesn't seem like much, right? Doesn't seem like a huge pH shift, but it's 65% more dissolved oxygen in a pH of 7.45 and 7.3. So now if you have a pH a tissue pH of about 7.0, you're going to be even less delivery of oxygen than you would at 7.45. And what happens there is you're delivering less oxygen to the mitochondria and you don't make enough energy. And what happens when you don't make enough energy? Well, you get fatigued and your body starts craving. What is the number one thing that it craves when you are not making enough ATP? It craves high energy foods like carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is a quick burning energy. Okay. So you're going to eat all of this carbohydrates just to get that quick energy because you're not making enough energy. Now, on the other hand, your body burns fat more efficiently for energy than it does carbohydrates. The problem becomes that if you're not efficient at burning that at the mitochondrial level, then you will tend to want to have quicker burning energy in the form of carbohydrates. That's when we start this downward cycle. And when we look at all of the different chronic diseases out there, this is where it all stems from. Now, if you look at pH2O, you also notice that there's a whole heap of trace minerals. And by the way, if you've already started using it and you're noticing, what the heck is that stuff at the bottom of my bottle? Or you notice that it's in your cup. Those are all the trace minerals in there. And by the way, minerals are not soluble. They're actually metals. That's what they are. And you need those things because it aids in every single enzymatic reaction in your body. You guys remember when I talked about enzymes, years ago, I talked about the importance of enzymes. Enzymes is what speeds up life. It speeds up every chemical reaction. Now, in order for enzymes to work properly, it needs trace minerals. It needs water. So that's why I'm so excited about pH2O, because this paired up with enzymes, now you start to get your cells to work properly. Trace minerals is known to decrease inflammation, improving blood sugar handling. Chromium, it affects mood. One of the things that they used to use back in the day, before they had stuff like Prozac and all of these antidepressants, is they would give people a whole heap of minerals to stabilize their mood. So here's the most common questions that the docs were getting. How much can we consume per day? I usually say about 1 to 2, maybe 3. Okay. Does this replace alkylate capsules? My answer for that is no, because this works in a whole different way. Okay, we're still affecting the body's pH levels, but we're also we're increasing hydration. Okay, this is about increasing hydration levels. Alkylate is more about restoring the alkaline reserve minerals. Yeah, it's two different things, because the powder form, the packet form, changes the quality of the water. Okay, changes the quality of the water. Whoa, what is that little red thing? So it changes the quality of the water, helps you to absorb the water even more effectively. Okay, and alkali capsules helps to restore the reserves. That's how you got to envision this. Are there any contraindications with this? If you do, if you're on any type of blood thinners, if you're on any type of antibiotics, I would stay away, just to be safe with that. And then if you're on like thyroid medications, you may want to take that, an hour or so away from that. Again, talk to your doctor if you have any other questions about that, and share this with them. So Another cool thing that a lot of people don't really realize the importance of hydration is vitamin D activation. And this is a very big issue that we face, in the entire world. And you may be saying, well, I take vitamin D, or I'm out in the sun a lot. And then you go and get tested and you see that your vitamin D levels are low. Well, see, your vitamin D is actually made in your skin, but it's activated in the liver and the kidneys. Now, the activation part, that's the most important part, because you can make it, but if it's not active, it's useless, right? And the activation needs a lot of water. Now, in our modern day and age, we are very dehydrated for two main reasons. One is obvious, that people just don't drink enough water because they're drinking things that are diuretic, like different teas and different coffees and all that kind of stuff, and it's dehydrating, and they're not replenishing the water. Right now, the second part is where people don't really understand that whenever we look at our modern day lifestyle, especially what we call non-native EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. What's going on with all these lines? um, we have all these things, called Wi-Fi. We have Bluetooth. We have radio frequencies flying through the air. And what that does is that actually dehydrates us. For those of you guys who have microwaves, you guys understand this process, right? You put in a steak into a microwave, and why does it come out tasting like rubber? It's just that rubber taste, that rubber consistency. Well, it's because it's dehydrating. Okay. So we're being affected by all of these things on a daily basis, which is affecting our cellular hydration level, which, if you need a lot of hydration to activate vitamin D, you could be out in the sun and you can be taking vitamin D till the cows come home and it still will not be effective. So taking pH2O is going to help with vitamin D activation. All right, let's move on to glow. Glow is a really big one that catches people by surprise when I talk about this in this sense, because a lot of people look at it and say, oh, cool. It's a beauty product, right? It's called Glow, supports the hair, the skin, the nails, collagen production. I'm a guy. I don't care if I'm ugly. I don't care if I don't have any hair. Well, maybe if you're single, you're trying to get your Tinder profile up to date. You're looking at all this stuff and you're saying, well, it's not for me. But that's the first thought I had when I heard about this. And then I saw the formulation and I started to look at it and I said, wow, this actually looks like a pretty complete multivitamin. And you're covering almost all of your bases here. And you're getting some really good whole food nutrition in the proprietary blend. We're looking at the bovine hydrolyzed collagen and all that kind of stuff. Who's writing on there, man? Who's writing all this stuff? So one of the big ones is biotin. Now, let's take a deeper look at the biotin. Okay. Before I get to that, a key takeaway I want you guys to take away from this is that your skin is a reflection of your internal health. So if you got skin that needs help, you got to look internally before you look externally. A lot of people, they start with lotions, potions, all these different creams, which is, don't get me wrong, those things are effective, but you also got to affect the body from the inside out. Okay, you got to start from the inside out, and that's what we're doing with Glow. Now, let's talk about biotin. Okay, biotin's a very interesting component. Now, when people look at this, they kind of freak out because we've been trained, right, by the school system to think that 100% means what? Means you're perfect. And then we've been scared by the government to know that, okay, if you go above 100%, that could be bad. Well, not necessarily. Okay. And people are reading biotin and they're freaking out like, holy moly, that's a lot of biotin. Is this going to kill me? Well, no, because, when we look at diets in nature, we actually need way more biotin than what the government's telling us. You got to understand that the RDA levels was made to see what is the minimum level that would keep somebody from getting a nutritional deficiency linked disease like scurvy, beriberi, all that stuff. So they came up with that level. This has nothing to do with optimal cellular functions. It's two different things. Okay. So biotin, I listed all these studies that showed improvement with blood sugar, right? Blood sugar levels. Um, it's linked anytime that you had a biotin deficiency, you always would have hair loss. Okay, always would have hair loss. And in order to maintain an optimal metabolic rate, right? A lot of people complain that, as I get older, my metabolism just slows. Well, a lot of it really has to do with mineral deficiencies and also hormonal deficiencies. And what's at the core of core of all of that is minerals. Okay, so you gotta look at all of these things and think, okay, well, why are we putting all these things out? Right? There's a purpose when we release products. Remember, Yoli is called the Better Body Company, and that's what we're trying to do is give you guys a better body. Now, why was I so excited about this one? Well, we're talking about collagen. We're talking about increasing cellular function. And why do I say that? Well, everything in your body is surrounded by collagen. Collagen is the electron highway in your body. So if you don't have enough collagen or the collagen matrix is breaking down, you're not delivering electrons properly throughout the body. Okay. Now, if you look at it, collagen is what supports the organs in your body. Okay. So by the mere fact of gravity, you are sagging. Everything in your body is sagging. Now, if you can see that externally, that's also happening internally. If you look at the different organs in your body, if it's sagging, if it's not having the proper support that it needs, it's also not going to function the way that it needs to, right? If your lungs, if your heart, all those things are collapsing because of the collagen matrix is not supporting it, it's not being as efficient as it could be, which then affects oxygen delivery, which then affects digestion, which affects detoxification, which affects your immune system. All of those things are affected, all because what? Everything's sagging because it doesn't have enough collagen support. So that's the beauty of having the collagen matrix being supported by all these things. Now, collagen, you can do two different things, right? You can take collagen in and of itself, or you can give the body the precursors to make collagen. Why not do both? And that's what we did with Glow. So that's a simple 30,000 foot overview of that. Now, the biggest question that I got from people is, well, doc, how do I add pH2O into the tea kit? Okay. So everybody knows how to do the tea kit, right? You know your orange days and your blue days. All you got to do is slip in the times where you would hydrate. Now, what I recommend for people is to put that about an hour or so away from your protein snacks. Okay. And the reason why I say that is when you are taking in protein, you need a lot of stomach acid to digest and assimilate that protein properly. pH2O will actually hinder that process. So you want to take that away from your protein snacks. So say you have a snack at, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Wait till like 11 o'clock to have pH2O. Okay? Same thing in the afternoon. Maybe you had your snack at about 2 o'clock. Maybe have pH2O at 3:30. Now, for you athletes out there, there's another question that I get. Well, what do I do? How does this replace fun or anything like that? pH2O is almost like a pre-workout. So you could use pH2O and passion as a pre-workout and then use it during your workouts and then use fun as a recovery. Okay, what fun is doing is it's helping to curb that lactic acid response from your workout, and then it's also helping to help the repair process. Okay, help your body to recover from that workout. So you're using pH2O passion as a pre, and then as fun as a recovery. Very, very simple to implement into the system. You don't want to get too crazy and all of that other crazy stuff. I mean, just keep it really simple. But it is something that I do think that it would be a very much beneficial thing to add to your transformation. Um, so I hope that this was informative for you guys and you guys got something out of it. I know this has been recorded, so you guys can take a look at the recording and go over this stuff, because it's a lot to kind of comprehend. But as you guys start understanding how the body works at a cellular level, and you understand how these things that, the products that you're using is affecting your body at the cellular level, you're going to start seeing things change in your body at a different rate. So that's pretty much all I have. Hopefully that was informative. All right, that's all I have. Aloha.